In this episode, presented by Motorsport Tuning Solutions, we get this 1JZ powered S14 Silvia up and running and back on the Pro Hub dyno. If you have seen our last episode on the S14 and Toyota Chaser builds I've got going on, you will know we've just upgraded the 1JZ clutch kit, done a few servicing items and prepped the engine and gearbox ready for installation into the S14 Silvia. Since then we've installed the 1JZ running gear, fabricated the intercooler piping, fabricated the 4-inch air filter and stainless intake piping. We've done a custom 3-inch stainless steel exhaust system. We've also upgraded the stock injectors to 1000cc Bosch units and upgraded the stock coil packs to the infamous R35 GTR coil packs. Now in this episode we're going to install the custom one-piece drive shaft built by Burley Drive Shafts. We're going to finish off the remaining electrical modifications. We're going to install the brand new battery and the terminations for it. Then we're going to calibrate the Haltech Elite 2000 ECU. And then we're going to get this bad boy ready to do its first startup and get it back on the Pro Hub dyno for a full E85 tune. Okay, so now we're just installing the one-piece drive shaft. Pretty simple really. The front of the drive shaft slots into the rear of the gearbox to the gearbox's output shaft. And then the rear of the drive shaft is a 4-bolt design for the Nissan. This whole thing is custom. Then we moved over to calibrating all the sensors and all the pin out for all the aftermarket sensors and the wiring and everything. Pretty simple really when you know what you're doing here, just using a multimeter and we call this belling out, or using an ohms meter to test continuity of the exact pins that are going into the inputs or the outputs of the ECU. Then you got to calibrate everything in the ECU with calibrations for your sensors, and then once you're sort of done all this, it's a bit of a fingers crossed, well not fingers crossed because you've done all your testing, but this is what you want to see on your first or second crank over. Next we moved on to doing the custom rear muffler. The customer dropped off a second-hand muffler that he sourced, and then so I just had to do the fit up of the existing piping that I installed and onto the rear muffler. All TIG welded, coming up nicely. Big Kobe giving us a hand, just tidying everything up, got him to polish that up and do all the fitment. The fitment was exactly what the customer was after, so that's really nice. Alright guys, that'll wrap up this video for now. So all in all, super happy with the swap of the 1JZ into the S14. Everything went flawlessly. Started up pretty much first time, or the second crank actually on the first attempt. So that's always really nice when you have aftermarket ECUs and a whole bunch of aftermarket sensors and calibrations to do and it starts first time. So anyone who knows who does this will appreciate that. No leaks or anything like that. Car responded really well on the dyno. With a stock turbocharger, stock exhaust downpipe and stock cams on a 1JZ, You don't see much more than 220. You might be able to push it and lean on ignition timing to get yourself around about the sort of 240, 250, depending on the dyno mark, but really happy with that at this point. We can't run too much boost with the stock turbocharger, so we're up to about 13 psi in the midsection. And even though we've got the Elite 2000 with boost solenoid and the full control with that, we're still getting way too much fall off with this turbocharger and choking out in the top end. So we see as low as about sort of 8 or 9 psi right at the end of the RPM. So not revving this thing right out either, because we need to bear in mind that this car is going back to the customer, going to get a full custom paint and then be sold. So we just want it to be nice and reliable for the new owner. All you have to do with something like this is you'd put a new set of cams and maybe some springs in it, head studs, and then a manifold and turbo, and you are good to go, because that is a beautiful engine. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. Hopefully you like. If you can subscribe or just comment, do anything you can, much appreciated.